Hello, hello. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Maria, and today I'm going to tell you about this conversation that I had with my friend the other day because my last video was about how the feminine aspects of ourselves, without realizing, could be somewhat avoidant of the masculine energy within us as well. The structure, the commitment, the devotion, the wisdom, the knowing, the part of us that has these almost unreasonable understandings of what is meant to come into our life next. And sometimes we don't always make ourselves available to receive that information. And I think I talked about how the feminine really likes to fill the void. If she's moving too quickly, she disconnects from her feelings, she disconnects from her body, she disconnects from her ability to actually receive the masculine energy. And she's just moving so quick. And another example of that is being really, really focused on the future without actually consulting with the inner masculine voice within us of telling us where we're meant to go and what comes next. And okay, it's time to slow down, or okay, it's time to get grounded. And so our feminine energy, without acknowledging our almost avoidancy, can get caught up in relationships or circumstances or experiences in life that become almost comfortable and fun while they're there, for sure. It's not that the feminine is miserable in her avoidance. She just doesn't recognize it all the time. And a lot of that then becomes burnout or becomes these feelings of something's missing. And I think I've said that in my past videos as well. I'll leave my most recent video link below because that's kind of where I talked about it the most. But I wanted to tell you about this conversation I had with my friend because I was really trying to integrate this understanding of the feminine avoidance of feeling. Like when you are so focused on other things or trying to control reality or really focused on the future, you almost forget that there's this feeling within you that already exists that you can connect to now. And for me, how that showed up is that I had these feelings, but I was always mentally making stories about them or controlling them or thinking that if I have this feeling, it has to look a certain way. And I lost connection with the actual feeling. I lost the ability to actually sit with it and appreciate it and be grateful for it and acknowledge it, talk to it, because I was so focused on what it meant, what I needed to do with it. Where was it going to go? Where was I going to put that feeling? And also, like, how was that going to show up in my reality? Why hasn't it shown up yet? Why hasn't this feeling manifested into something, into a relationship or into some sort of breakthrough in my life? I was so focused on the stories I was telling myself about the feeling, so focused on occupying my feminine energy just so that I could rationalize why that feeling didn't need to be there or exist. I begged God, the universe, to almost like relieve me of the feeling so that I could move on. And I went to my friend, and she has another friend who's currently single, and I'm also currently single. And she was saying, hey, like, my friend is going to the singles event. I know you mentioned that might be something you'd be open to. Is that something you'd want to like connect with her and go with her? And when I received the message, initially I was like really excited. It looked really fun. I was like, oh, that could be a really good time. And I sat with it, I think, for about a day before I saw her. And so much realization came because I had just talked about in my previous video the feminine avoidance of feeling and having to rationalize feeling. I don't actually know if I mentioned that in my last video, but that was the thought that I was having, was how I still have this feeling. Am I trying to run from it? Am I trying to avoid it? Am I trying to rationalize it? Am I thinking that I need to fill it with something else so that it doesn't have to be felt or acknowledged? Um, and that feeling was love. That feeling was this part of me that was deeply in love and had been for a really long time. Yes, it was. I think I've made a video about my healing journey and how I kind of went through an awakening through meeting somebody that's really important to me and always will be. And my love for him definitely was the journey that I was meant to go on. I was definitely awakened. I was definitely making sense of myself and understanding myself. And experiencing myself through this person very deeply. And the love that I had for that person, I was conceptualizing it as something that had to look a certain way rather than just accepting it for what it was. Because when I was sitting with this feeling after my friend had messaged me, I realized like this love isn't going anywhere and it hasn't gone anywhere. And I haven't had the ability to just sit with it and acknowledge it and feel it because it's within me. Because it's within me. I don't need somebody else to be able to validate the feeling. I don't need somebody to tell me that they love me back in order for that feeling to be valid and be allowed to be there. But that's how I was thinking. And so I sat with the feeling. I was like, you know what? I actually haven't been appreciative of the fact that I manifested or I asked God, I prayed to God for this love. Because before I met this person, back in, I met them a really long time ago, but we reconnected in 2019. And before I met this person or reconnected to this person, I was in a place of my life where I had just gotten out of a 6-year long relationship, or around there. And I was actively like manifesting very innocently. I didn't have any idea of what I was praying for, what I was asking God for. I didn't really understand. I was just doing it. I was just doing the things that they tell you to do. You know, like the vision boards, the visualization, the meditation. I was doing all that. And of course I wanted those things to come through, but God has a funny way of serving you those feelings and understanding that the physical manifestation, the whole process was the physical manifestation of it didn't have to validate the feelings that I had about what I wanted and how I wanted to experience life because all those feelings already existed. Anyway, I was praying actively and meditating and visualizing and feeling what it would be like to feel love. And I was praying for it and I received it. I received the awakening to it through this person. And what I wasn't able to realize then was all of my prayers had been answered. Even though it's taken me so many years to get here, I'm finally allowing myself to receive the love that I actually prayed for because I can actually allow myself to feel it without creating a story around it. Do you understand what I'm saying? I hope you do. If not, ask questions if you need. So when I saw my friend the next day, she asked me like, hey, how do you feel about the singles event? I said, I'll give you the gist. It was a bit of a longer conversation. I was kind of working through it as I was talking. I will say too that the way that I was trying to say it didn't come out elegantly. I was just literally just trying to kind of work through the energy as it was kind of coming out of me. But what was happening was I was trying to explain to her, like, I asked for God for this love and I feel it within me. And I've been resisting it ever since I've received it. And the part of me that feels this love has always equated it to a story, a meaning, a person, a form of reality that could validate it. And when I couldn't get it, I tried to resist it. And I think as much as I thought I wanted to be able to be available to open up to a relationship again, I think I need to be grateful and appreciative and give time to the love that I actually asked for and prayed for within myself and allow that to kind of play out because there's so many times where I have said, if this love is not meant to be here, please take it from me. But you can't escape yourself. You can't escape the love that you hold within yourself. And that was the whole point. So when I was asking for love innocently and purely out of heart 7 years ago, I didn't realize that the awakening I was going to have was for God to tell me, or source, spirit, whatever language you use, to tell me, no, that love was never in somebody else. That love was never validated by the reality you live. It was validated by your ability to see yourself and validate that it's already within you. And so I had this conversation with her. I tried to explain it. Yes, there technically in physical terms, there is a person that this love is greatly connected to. But the whole point of it was for me to acknowledge that regardless of if this person is going to be in my life or not, I deserve to receive and give attention to the love that I feel. And it was a really freeing conversation. I went to therapy the next day and I even talked about it and I was so proud of myself because I was like, wow, I'm not running anymore. I'm not trying to fill a void to not have to feel. I'm not trying to validate my experience by trying to get something that will tell me this love is real. I'm slowing down enough to be able to allow myself to feel and be okay with it and receive it and love it and recognize it and be excited about it, because it simply isn't existing because something outside of me has happened. It's existing because I simply exist. And that was really what I wanted to get across today, because I feel like anyone who is meant to hear this will. And I also feel like there's just such a graceful and pure innocence to the feminine when she's able to recognize, like, oh, the whole time I was standing right here. This is the love that I've been wanting. This is the love that I've been wanting to receive. And I couldn't notice it enough because I was so busy trying to figure out my physical reality and be stable in my physical reality that I ignored the very thing that had existed all along. Pretty wild. That is what I wanted to share with you today. Obviously, this is a bit of a personal story, but I truly, truly believe that it embodies the message of understanding unconditional love, because the conditions outside of you are going to simply exist. But the feeling and the experience of the human body and the understanding of what already exists within you can be acknowledged and can be witnessed now, in this moment. You don't have to be rushing. You don't have to be busy. You don't have, you do have to slow down. You have to be comfortable with yourself enough to do that. But the experience of feeling is something that I feel like I'm relearning and allowing myself to embrace. And it simply is because, and I will say it is because I have regained a relationship with my inner masculine, 100%, for sure. So I'll leave it there. I won't add too much more. And maybe I can really talk about the dynamics of how I got to that point with my masculine energy within myself. But until next time, I am sending you so much love. If you would please give a thumbs up to the video and subscribe and comment any questions you have below or anything that you resonate with, or maybe it's something that you feel like you're going through that's very similar. I would absolutely love to know. And yeah, sending you so much love. Talk to you soon.